All right, so we begin today's program. First of all, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. The very fact that we are here today is the testimony of the fact that menstrual health and its impact on young women is a pertinent topic and that needs attention. Menstrual Blog, a platform of women's health and hygiene, gives us this opportunity to discuss and foster a healthy discussion on various problems related to periods and mental as well as psychological issues related to it. Menstrual Blog is a youth-led org founded by Arya Mishra. More power to you, girl, and thanks for having me here today. I've known you since a kid, so it's an absolute privilege to host this when you are at the helm of things. We also have students from various international and national universities here in India who would be sharing their views on this topic today. And now I take this opportunity to introduce our most eminent and distinguished guest, who is an authority on this subject um, with her illustrious career, which is spanning several decades. Dr. Chandravati, ma'am, we welcome you.
Thank you, Maravi. Thank you.
And
it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it's a long, illustrious career that she have, and I'm just going to give a brief about her. Dr. Chandravati completed her MBBS and MS from KGMC Lucknow. She did her DGO and DFPA from England and is a fellow of International College of Surgeons, fellow of College of Maternal and Child Health, fellow of Indian College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and FNRC, BHU, Varanasi. She was head of department Queen Mary's College and is a professor emeritus King George's Medical College, Lucknow. She was the president of the Federation of Obstetrical and Gynecological Societies of India and dean in the Indian College of Maternal and Child Health, Calcutta. She has a large number of publications in various national and international journals. She has been awarded with Commonwealth and Medical Fellowship and has been recipient of many prestigious awards by the central and the state government. She is also a member of various advisory boards. We are extremely honored to have you today, ma'am, and the forum is all yours. Please speak a few words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matavi. Thank you. I think I would like to share some slides with you, everyone, and then we can have some question and answers and discuss the topic. What we have.
Sure.
So I'll just go through my slides and I'll just talk a little bit on those slides.
Sure.
जरा से इसको नीचे करो हेडिंग अपीयर यानी स्लाइड नीचे ऊपर से ये हट नीचे इसको नीचे करो बस इसके पहले So, good morning from Indian time and good evening from the US time. And I know this is sort of little late for you people there and late morning for we people here in India. but is always pleasure to talk about a topic at any time, a topic that bothers each one of us, and especially we gynecologists from time to time. And because we know that from the menstrual problems, lots of diseases and problems arise in near future for the young adult women and even senior women when if they do not care for their menstrual cycle. So today we are going to discuss a little bit about menstrual hygiene and what is adolescent health. Periods or menstruation, it is still a taboo topic because here in India, many a time, even in the family, sitting with our parents and sitting with our elder brothers and people, usually we would not be very frank talking about periods and will not be even saying anything when the girl is having a period and what is the time and is she uncomfortable or problem. Usually the females in the family would be knowing about this and they would be only discussing about the menstrual cycle because it is still a lot of places it is supposed to be a period of embarrassment, a period when the woman is not very clean. What is menstruation? It's a normal, natural, necessary biological process of regular cycles of bleeding and is a key sign of reproductive health. Yet, in many cultures, it is treated as something negative and shameful or dirty. Due to this social stigma attached, girls become isolated from the family, friend, and from the communities and from many social functions. The transition from childhood to adulthood is characterized by acceleration of physical growth and psychological and behavioral changes. The reproductive health indicators in the Indian scenario, 28% use sanitary napkins properly. Uneducated and poor women are less likely to use sanitary napkins. 56% adolescent girls have menstrual problem. More than 55% have never heard about urinary tract infection, reproductive tract infection, sexually transmitted infection. So they've never heard and they do not correlate it with the menstrual cycle. But still, 27% of them would have symptoms of some of these associated problems. And even if they have problem, only half of these would sought for treatment. Now, what we want them to know, we want them to know about their body, their puberty, and their menses. And we want to know what is happening all around. 20% of world population is adolescent. That means between 10 to 19 years. During this time, the body is actually adjusting to the influx of hormones released by puberty. Roughly 2 years after first physical sign of puberty, menstruation starts. The regularity of the period varies from person to person. The normal age of menses is between 11 to 14 years, but recently we have seen even girls have started their cycles as young as 9 to 10 years. And it ends by 40 to 5 years, the average age being 47 years. The normal length is 2 to 7 days, but it can be little bit variable. The normal cycles are of 28 days, but range varies from 21 to 35 days. We must also remember during the adolescent, during the first few years, the cycles are often irregular. The flow also varies. It could be less, it could be more, and it could be irregular. And this could be taken as normal. What is menstruation? Most of our young girls want to know what is menstruation. Why do we have this bleeding every month? So the menstrual fluid is just a harmless mixture of blood and endometrial tissue. which is not used by the body. So menstruating woman is not dirty, impure, sick, or even cursed. It is the unwanted blood which comes out. With the onset of menstruation, the ovaries begin to release ova, and thus a girl becomes capable of bearing a child. So, which means when the menstruation starts after 1 or 2 years of starting menstruation or 3 years, there could be ovulatory cycles. In the beginning, the cycles are anovulatory. From 11 to 14, 15 years, 16 years, the cycles are anovulatory. But many times, even 13, 14 years, they could ovulate. And we find in India, many times young girls, if married or even unmarried, they get pregnant at the age of 12, 13, 14. So you cannot predict when the ovulation will start. It can start anytime, but not before 10 to 11. Every month, the ovaries releases an egg in anticipation of possible fertilization. The uterine lining becomes thickened and prepares for implantation. But if no fertilization, endometrial shedding occurs, bleeding occurs, and menstruation occurs. But this is menstruation is something unspeakable. It is inconvenience. There are various myths attached to menstruation. The menstrual myths are attached. They would now talk and spread from one mouth to mouth. We want to get rid of this. There's a myth that they should not take bath, they should not play outside, they should be in a dark room. All type of myths are around, and we must be careful about all these myths. Now, there are certain menstrual myths about menstrual cycle also, like they feel that every woman should have a cycle of 28 days, which is not correct. It could vary from 21 to 35 days. Every woman will or should bleed every month. It could be in the beginning, the cycles could be 2 to 3 months even. Every woman will or should ovulate every cycle, which is not true. Some cycles could be ovulatory, some cycles could be anovulatory. It is also thought, and the myth is there, that if the woman bleeds, she is not pregnant. But sometimes there could be ovulatory bleed, there could be small bleed during conception also. So it should be thoroughly investigated and should not be presumed that if she is bleeding, she is menstruating every month. And it is also a myth that if women cannot ovulate or get pregnant while she is menstruating, because sometimes unreasonable pregnancies do occur even if intercourse happens during the menstrual period also. Now, why do we want to know and talk about menstrual hygiene? And that is why there's a annual awareness day, that is 28th May, has been taken as a menstrual hygiene day. It is basically to raise awareness about good menstrual hygiene for women and adults and girls worldwide, which is must for their genital, urinary, and sexual health, and prevent associated disease like fungal infection, bacterial infections, viral infection like hepatitis, HIV, and all those things. So it is very, very important to make people aware about keeping a proper menstrual hygiene. Publicly recognize the right of the women to hygienically manage their menses wherever they are so that can manage their periods with dignity. They do not miss school, they do not miss their working place, and do not lose economic opportunity as the workplace. So it is very important that we must take care that people who are menstruating should be given a proper place to keep themselves safe and happy and healthy. As inadequate and inappropriate sanitation facilities prevent many girls from attending school during menses, so there should be a proper infrastructure for adequate privacy of the separate toilets for girls and boys. There should be a dustbin facility. There should be clean running water. And there should be facility for providing napkin and toilet papers. What do we want to know when you have your first period? The first thing is that they have to prior knowledge and be prepared to avoid confusion and embarrassment from this intensely private moment. They should track menstruation. The date should be known, because if it is known, they would be prepared. Even if they go to school, they are prepared for getting ready. If women is of the reproductive age, by thinness of the cervical mucus also, she can predict that she is going to menstruate and she can be ready. But the most important of all is that if she is expecting menstruation or she started it, she should not stop going to school or workplace or being active. She should remain active and should be prepared to manage her menstruation. Now, how to reduce problems associated with menses? We know there are so many problems attached to menstruations. There could be premenstrual syndrome, there could be anemia, rise in the body weight or decrease body weight, painful menstruations. It could be scanty menstruation or could be profuse bleeding. There could be emotional disturbances, stress, and all this could cause absentee from the school or the workplace. So, as a precaution, what we want to teach our young girls or even our women, they should avoid junk foods, caffeine, too much salt, take enough sleep, drink enough water, reduce stress, do regular exercises, and maintain healthy lifestyle. Now, this is in short some ways to manage menstrual flow. Use of different methods. Most common is the sanitary napkins, then tampons and menstrual cups. Now, this is some sort of pattern being followed in India. The most common is the cloth napkin, especially the rural areas. Then sanitary napkins, and third comes locally prepared napkins. Now, this chart gives protection options, advantages, and disadvantages. Now, I'm talking in relation to our Indian scenario. At village level, still there are some areas or some tribal areas where natural materials like mud, leaves, cow dung all being used. They are locally available, but there's high risk of contamination and uncomfortable to use. Strips of the cloth are most commonly used, easily available in the local market. The advantage being it is reusable, but they need to be properly cleaned every time, and that needs to be properly maintained. Toilet paper or tissues easily available, but it's not very strong and it's very, very expensive for poorest users or common use. But in emergency, one can use all these things. Reusable pads have become very, very common now in Indian scenario. Mainly local people are making it. They are reusable and they are washed and kept safely for the next cycle. And commercially, they are produced and it is not very prohibitive cost wise. Tampons, convenient and comfortable, but cost is difficult and generates a loss of disposable, not environmentally friendly. As many places, especially in India, It's culturally not appropriate, especially for adults and girls. Menstrual cup also reusable has become very popular in the Western countries. Some of the Indian population is also using it. It is reusable, cheap, uh, financially maintainable, but again culturally inappropriate for adults and girls, and it needs to be person needs to be properly trained for using these menstrual cups. And naturally, panties underwear is common thing. Even people from village also in our part also use it because they are needed for keeping the napkins in position. Sanitary napkins can be used and disposed in a much easier way as compared to cloth. It has an absorbent material which provides a dry feeling, it decreases chances of infection, and helps in mobility and ease of daily routine work. How often to change sanitary napkins? Change at least once a day, but you might need to change it 6 to 8 hours or even sometimes even 3 to 4 hours depending how much bleeding is there. If using cloth, ensure that the clean, soft, dry, and absorbent cloth is used. It must be washed thoroughly and dried in private but sunny place. After drying, it possible should be ironed. Store in a clean and dry place. Do not share this cloth with anyone. After multiple use, dispose of this cloth. Basically, 3 to 4 uses are recommended. Why it is necessary to dispose of sanitary pad napkins properly? Because if they are left in open, they are so site, may lead to transmission of infection and will attract flies and insects. So they should be properly disposed of. Personal hygiene during menstruation is very, very important, and this protects you from urinary tract infection, reproductive tract infection, local itching, bad odor. It is recommended that one should take bath daily. The private parts should be kept clean and dry, and one should be very, very active during this period. Use of cloth or sanitary napkin depends on the personal choice, but make sure to change them frequently depending on the quantity of flow. Before onset of flow, it is comfortable to trim the hairs around genitalia. Shaving is usually not recommended. So, friends, to summarize, menstrual hygiene is for genital, urinary, and reproductive health of girls. Menstrual hygiene has social, educational, and economic impact on girls and women. It's joint responsibility of we as parents, teachers, doctors, societies, school authorities, and government to provide proper sanitation facilities to our adolescents and women so they lead their menstrual life days with dignity. Do not miss school. Do not lose economic opportunity at workplace. Because our adolescents are the future of our nation. So empower them, educate them, and embrace them. Thank you very much, each one of you, for being a very patient hearer and keep giving me time to talk something about.
Thank you, Dr. Chandravati, for your incredibly insightful comments during today's webinar on women's health and menstrual health. Your expertise and passion on this topic were evident, and your comments have certainly deepened our understanding of these important issues. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Arya, a student at Kelly School of Business and founder of Menstrual. 3 years ago, I set out to make a difference in menstrual health, aiming to break stigmas and empower individuals. Today, we've reached a milestone with this international webinar. uniting experts to explore the vital link between mental and menstrual health. I am grateful for this opportunity to raise awareness and foster support. Let's embark on this journey together towards holistic well being. Thank you all for joining. Now, we would like to begin with our fire chat session with Dr. Chandravati. So, we conducted a survey, Dr. Chandravati, and analyzed the responses and formulated a list of frequently asked questions, which
Mhm.
we would like you to address.
Okay.
Before before we proceed, I would like to invite fellow team members to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Anokhi Agarwal. I'm a psychology major at IU. This is my first year and I'm part of the psychology team at Menstrual. I'm obliged to be attending this webinar today under the esteemed presence of our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Chandravati, whose expertise provides valuable insights and enriching.
मरीना का पेशेंट एनसी पेशेंट है जो 3 हफ्ते बाद
I'm Vidya Goel. I'm a freshman here at Indiana University, currently pursuing a psychology major. I'm very much delighted to be a part of this webinar under the benign presence of Dr. Chandravati.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire O'Day. I'm a freshman at Indiana University and currently pursuing a Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, and I'm just so thrilled to be a part of this webinar today. I'm part of the creative team at Menstrual and have been in a few of the Instagram Reels as well, and I think I can speak for so many of us here when I say that we are just so proud to be supporting the mission of Menstrual today. And now I believe we are set to begin our fire chat session. So Dr. Chandravati, our first question for you is, that we've all seen and heard different things from different sources, but in your professional opinion, how often do you believe that one should be changing menstrual hygiene products?
Dr. Chandravati, you're not audible.
Yeah, sorry. Could I get the question again, please?
Absolutely. We've seen from many different people different things, but in your opinion, how often should menstrual hygiene products be changed?
You mean the napkins to be changed in a day?
Sure, yes, whichever is the
Yeah.
most popular
So
idea. Yeah.
this is, I said that you need to change it at least once in a day if your cycles are scanty and not very profuse. But I think advisable would be twice a day to change it. But if your bleeding is more, you could need it to change it 5 to 6 times or even sometimes 3 to 4 times. So depending on your blood loss, you should not be allowed to be too soaked. You should be half soaked and you change it.
Thank you.
I would like to ask the next question. Dr. Chandravati, does age really matter while using other menstrual products instead of sanitary pads like tampons and menstrual cups?
Vidya I was telling you that the scenes are different in India, scenes are different in Western countries. Our girls are nowadays getting sexually active at a younger age, maybe, but still the taboo is there that people would like to marry girls who are, virgin and not had sex with anyone and so like that. So that way, the hymen intactity is very, very important in our situation, he has said. So tampons and menstrual cups are rarely used in adolescent girls. Parents even would not advise them to use it until they are married or they are there. But sometimes when the girls are sexually active, they are using tampons and they are using menstrual cups also. So it doesn't, we can advise them anything, but seeing the social culture and the type of environment you have, sometimes you have to differ in what you advise to them.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Chandravati, so we found that there was this frequently asked question about painkillers, like in an effort to manage menstrual cramps and discomfort, people think that painkillers like Meftal-Pas or ibuprofen can affect women physiologically. Does it really affect women physiologically, or is it
I,
okay to?
I think, Arya, that people should understand that this type of pain are usually in the initial part of menstrual cycle when the girl is not ovulating. Usually pain disappears once the ovulation sets in and pain starts. So taking some of the antispasmodic is not harmful. Usually 1 or 2 tabs, usually initial 24 to 48 hours is the only pain. So once they take it, I think there's no harm in taking it. And along with that, we advise them to be on actual being very active, avoid caffeine and things like that. And then hot fermentation is another part which they can use without using the drugs. But if these things do not relieve them, I don't think there's any harm taking these drugs, antispasmodic, for relief of the pain. So
Thank
that
you.
myth should go away. I think the myth is there
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
this is there.
don't take anything that is harmful. I don't think it is harmful for that.
Okay, thank you so much.
That's so interesting to hear. I was also wondering if you would be able to explain kind of what PCOS and PCOD are and how they can affect reproductive health.
The PCOs are hormonal imbalance where the masculinizing hormone is in abundance, and the uh, problem is that PCOS could be an obese type, PCOS could be in thin type. Both types of PCOS are available. Initially, when you find that the girl is gaining weight, her parents are diabetic, and uh, her cycles are irregular, all these things direct you towards probably she is going to get a report of PCOS or PCODs. And uh, the problem is that in these girls, usually the cycles are irregular, erratic. They could be in 2 to 3 month cycle. They could bleed abnormally, and the problem would be that they may not bleed for 6 months and then again start bleeding for 3 to 4 months. So all type of erratic type of menstrual cycles would be there. Many times they are associated with acne, they are associated with facial hair growth or body hair growth. All things are there. So it is very important that they should consult the endocrinologist at the beginning when they suspect it, because when we start treating these people, starting from the lifestyle changes, from the diet habits, and uh, for regulating their cycle, many times you could avoid getting these girls changing into diabetics, because they are even prone to diabetes. So in early stage treatment can avoid the girl getting into diabetes at an early stage. So PCOS are another entity which is almost endocrinal problem, and you can make it out from their bodies have bodies build up from the menstrual cycle, their hoarseness voice, facial hairs, and acne, that they should consult an endocrinologist immediately.
Thank you.
That is it for our Q&A session for today. Thank you so much, ma'am. Your dedication to improving women's health is truly commendable, and I'm sure we all feel inspired by your words today. Thank you, Dr. Chandravati, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. We are grateful for the opportunity to learn from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, it's my pleasure to introduce Nikhila Deshpande, a powerhouse in psychology, coaching, and therapy. With an MSc in psychology, LLB, and ACC level coaching certification, Nikhila has over a decade of experience and 10,000 plus hours of counseling, hypnotherapy, and coaching. Her passion for empowering clients to achieve happiness, success, and fulfillment is inspiring. Featured in Midday, Mirror Now, and Vivid Bharati Radio, Nikhila has collaborated with celebrities and TV personalities. As the founder of iTalk Therapy, she dedicates herself to supporting social issues, organizing workshops, and transforming lives through counseling and psychological services. Please join me in welcoming Nikhila Deshpande.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. It is amazing the kind of initiative you've taken. You girls, hats off, congrats. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me for this session. I will not take much of time in introducing myself already. You guys have done a great job. Thank you so much. And I'll directly jump into the topic. So I want to start this talk with a very simple basic question. What do you think is the most common thing, okay, in this room, which all of us like have? Like take 2 seconds, think about it. What is like the most common thing in this room that all of you guys have, every one of us has? I know some of the common answers might be we all get periods, we all are women, we all have this problem in common, or we have all have this passion in common. It can be anything. But if you think there is this one thing which is globally, or I would say on the entire planet, common among human beings, and that one thing is we all have a mind. I mean, the whole proof of your existence lies in your mind. And that is where the topic mental health begins. And to stick to the topic, that mental health for women, or mental health during menstruation, or mental health during periods, I decided to, prep myself up. I was like, I'm not going to go impromptu this time. This time, Nikhila, we are going to prep up. So last night I was on the laptop searching for a few things, and I came across some really amazing stats and researches. And one of the major research that I came across is that women have more gray matter than men. I mean, how cool is that? Women have more gray matter, they have better neural wirings, they have more neurons per se in their brain. This means, is it safe to say that women are tad bit smarter than men? All right, all right. I will not get into all of that gender biases and gender fights. But the whole base of this research was to understand what advantage do we have. Because I have spoken to so many women across all genre of all ages, nationalities, and I've seen that we all treat periods as something that is a burden that puts us back. That is something that we have to take care of. There is like a curse given us to us women, and it's not something to celebrate, but it's something to be very calm about, very shy about, very embarrassed about. And then there are these webinars, seminars, and talks about empowering, not letting go of the shame, and not stopping periods. But I want to tell you something damn interesting, and this is going to be fun. So while researching all of this, I understood that we women do not use periods as an extremely empowering tool. It's actually a tool which can bring us back to our core and balance our ecosystem out so beautifully. Our physiology, our psychology, our goals, our emotions, our focus list, all of that. I will tell how. I think it just got interesting. So I'll tell how. First of all of us, this is like a very commonly known fact that you get me any man, dumbbell and everything, very macho, does not, he does not have a single line on his face of emotion. You get me any man, and let us talk to him after his 4 drinks down. Oh my God, I have seen the machoest and the manliest of the men crying like little princesses. ओए मेरा ब्रेकअप हो गया, मेरे साथ क्या हो गया, वैसे करके गई वैसे. I mean, oh my God, aren't you supposed to be the man? Aren't you supposed to be the macho guy who does not have any emotion and isn't crying only restricted to us girls and all of that? But no, it's not true. And I was wondering why, like, why would you behave like this? Why would you behave like a woman once you're 4 or 5 drinks down? And the answer was very simple. women by default have this beautiful, wonderful hormone called estrogen flowing through us liberally 24 by 7. They're very high on progesterone and they are very high on estrogen. Okay. And men usually are high on testosterone. So when they drink, their estrogen level actually shoots up, which brings them back to their core and which aligns them to their emotions, which aligns them to their feelings. Okay. But you know what? Isn't this amazing that we don't have to get drunk to feel our feelings? It just comes naturally to us. So let us understand how can we use this to our advantage? How can we use this to our power? So 1 week, that 1 week before your chums or before your periods is very, very precious. I mean, you must have, let go of 20, 30, 40 such weeks which have been precious. So I would say don't waste any more of that time and start, download an app or something and start tracking your periods and start focusing on that 1 week before the periods. Your estrogen levels are flowing beautifully. So please use that to your advantage. And I am in a minute going to tell you how. So just to get into very, very little technical basics, I hope I'm not boring you. But you all know that oxytocin is very important. Yeah. Oxytocin, the hormone that, makes us feel good when we catch up with our friends, or the hormone that makes us feel very good when we do it and stuff like that. So oxytocin is very, very important for the mental health of every human being, not just women, men as well. Now, whenever you are indulging into any activities which produce oxytocin in general, okay, versus you are doing any activities which are producing oxytocin during that 1 week, the amount of oxytocin that will be released in your brain would vary very much. So on a regular day, if it is 1 unit of oxytocin in your head, okay, for meeting your friends or going out on a date or doing something, the oxytocin level that will be released would be plus 10 during that 1 week because you're emotionally charged. Okay. So what you can do is you can indulge into activities like meeting your friends, going to the salon. Please go to the salon during that time and you are going to get all the paisa vasooled double time in the parlor. Please get yourself a massage because it is going to be the most happy, relaxing massage ever when it comes to releasing of oxytocin. If you want to socialize, please go ahead and socialize with your besties. Only have that sleepover that you have been planning for like months and months, but you guys have been busy with your work, with your assignments, or with any other activity relating to office, relating to your professional life, or personal life. Just keep that aside and make time for people who you really, really love, because the way you will connect with them during that 1 week is going to be phenomenal. Okay. So that's one way you can use your period to your advantage. Another way. Okay. Basic, again, going a little basic. We all have heard dopamine. And dopamine, first of all, is the most loosely used. उसका कोई वजूद ही नहीं रहा है. The most usually used hormone on social media these days. What is dopamine? Dopamine is nothing but your motivation hormone. It is not your happy hormone, just happy hormone. It's just a neurotransmitter. It takes message from one neuron and says भाई ये काम करना है to the other neuron. उसके आगे dopamine का कोई role नहीं है, but yes, it definitely keeps you motivated throughout. So, one of the ways that you can charge your dopamine up, during this time is to go ahead and clean. And if you notice, these are your natural instincts that I'm pointing out. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you girls out here start cleaning around periods or when you're angry or when you're emotionally disturbed. It's a very common thing. In fact, recently I even saw a meme that a girl starts, cleaning the closet and her girlfriend says that, dude, she started to clean her closet and now you're dead. Something is really, really bad now. Stuff like that. So that girls naturally start cleaning when they want their dopamine levels to be up or they want their serotonin levels to be up. So if you want to have that beautiful chemical balance flowing through perfectly, go for that exercise, go for that run, or go for that sport that you always wanted to pick up, and if nothing, just clean and you are good to go. You're going to feel so elevated, so happy, and so in the zone, if you know what I mean, during that week. And then comes your most important hormone, your peace hormone, your focus hormone, and that is serotonin. Oh my God, serotonin is so, so, so important to have that consistency, because हम लोग start तो कर लेते हैं और आधे में छोड़ देते हैं. We tend to pump up, okay, ये करना है, ये 1st of January gyms are full. But then to have that consistency, your serotonin also has to be way more consistent. And during this week, Mother Nature has given you the opportunity to keep your serotonin in line through the entire month. And how you can use it, let me tell you. So one of the most effective tools, to pump up your serotonin during this week is journaling. This is what we recommend in therapy. So what happens in journaling is already your estrogen levels are up, already you're peaking on your emotions. When you start to journal it out, you actually come to know what's going on in your life, which you're clueless about. I'm pretty sure right now कि क्या हो रहा है, कहाँ जा रही है जिंदगी, पता नहीं है. So that is the best way you can tap into your emotions, tap into your feelings, and the most beautiful and the most important of it all, tap into what do you want, because half the time we are clueless as to what we want in our life. So this part, this 1 week of consistently focused journaling will help you understand what you want. So let me give you an example. When you're stepping out of the house, or you're going to this amazing party, you have your amazing makeup on, hair done, costume check, everything. How do you know you're looking beautiful? Just think about it. How are you very sure you're looking beautiful? The best and the most trusted way is to look into a mirror. You go to the mirror, you check, array, mera liner to theek hai na, lipstick is okay, my blush is in the right place, my outfit is looking great. That's the mirror. Okay. When you are journaling, it is like the mirror of your mind. So what is happening to you when you're emotionally charged is something that you come to know very, very clearly. Otherwise, how do you know where your mind is and what your focus is? And the funny part about goals is goals, or any kind of desire, is not based on logic ever. I have very, very rarely seen any kind of desire or any kind of goal setting done on logic. It is always based on your emotions, your emotional direction. So if I know why I want something, then the how, what, where, when is going to fall in place just like that. But why I want it is something that will be very, very clear to you if you use this 1 week before chums as your northern star to understand where your emotions are. So if you feel like, oh my God, this guy is toxic, I need to break up, that 1 week will actually help you understand if he is worth you or not. If you feel, oh my God, my boss is very toxic, I need to, resign or search for other avenues, then that 1 week is going to clearly scream at you that yes, Arya, you're right, or yes, Ruchi, you're right, or yes, Navya, you're right, this is the time to get out. Okay. Otherwise you have this amazing idea, this business idea, or any kind of side hobby that you want to pursue, and you journal during that period week, and it comes up again and again in your journal. That's your cue to start it. So you understand where do you lie emotionally, where do you lie mentally, and sometimes you might also understand where do you lie spiritually. So you can actually use that 1 week solid to your advantage. All right. So these are just the very basics as to not treat period as something, oh my God, ye kya aa gaya? Because please understand, men have to take substances. Okay. Men who are not privileged enough to have periods, they have to take substances to get in touch with your emotions. And you, my girl, has been gifted it for free. So please, please, please use it to your advantage. Another thing that I want to touch upon very, very quickly, because I don't think I have that kind of time. I wish I had, but it's okay. So one more thing that I would want to touch upon is PMDD. It's called premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So along with PMS, along with PCOD, PCOS, these conditions, PMDD is a very common occurrence. What happens in PMDD? Just like in PMS, you get physical symptoms of backache, headache, or stomach cramps, or cramps in the leg area. Similarly, PMDD has emotional and psychological and mental symptoms like irritability, depression, mood swings, snapping, anger bouts, anxiety, or panic attacks. Okay. So that condition is called PMDD. And if you are suffering from any kind of physical ailment relating to periods, then PMDD might be a common occurrence. Going to therapy is going to help you volumes, guys. Please give therapy a chance. It's not as bad as you think it is. So give therapy a chance. Consult a good gynec and consult a good psychologist who actually has some expertise in PMDD. That will help you. Another thing that I would quickly touch upon is that for all these wonderful women who have amazing experience on planet Earth, all you young girls, please talk to them once in a while. They know a lot. Women who are transitioning from their menstruation to their pre-menopause, menopause, and post-menopause phase, they are also going to they are going to benefit a lot, with therapy and counseling, because this transition can, be a little bumpy at times without an elder person or a gynec or someone expert in the area not there to hold your hand. So you know what? Let's have a
Actually,
beautiful network.
Nicola, if you'd allow me to intervene, so sorry, but like this similar problem is like I've seen it with my younger sister as well, because she is going through the same cycle. She is like beginning to go through all of the bodily changes that women go through. And so we observed in our like we sort of did a survey and we found out that people are not really open about talking about their problems. Like there's a diverse set of answers to the question about how comfortable they are, and they are actually all the age groups, they're equally like there's a slight discomfort about talking about their mental health, and people, half of them are not even aware about the problems that they might have to go through. So how do we tackle each age group considering their emotional maturity?
First of all, we need to have a lot of awareness. We, as influencers or as doctors or as creators, need to generate a lot of content, which is educating women, young or middle aged or old, who are actually, which is actually telling that yes, it is okay to talk about mental health. Yes, it's okay to talk about periods and stuff like that. So Arya, I would say that the younger generation is very receptive. They are more receptive when it comes to mental health, when it comes to talking about issues. I'm not saying that the stigma is not there, but it is morely the older generation that we are talking about. Okay, so this problem exists on two levels. Okay, first is a very generic or a very global level or a very national level, and creating awareness, I think, is the only solution. But if you're talking about someone at your home that you're trying to convince to go to therapy, okay, then let's talk about that. What first things first is, what you can do is you can go and sit with that person and open up yourself first. If I open up about my issues, it's going to be easier for you to trust me with your issues, because trust is a privilege these days, guys. You're not as lucky as our generation. We used to trust just like that. You guys don't. So first thing first, you can talk about that. Second thing is, you yourself can have an experience with a mental health professional and talk about your experience to your loved ones, that you know what, therapy is not so bad. I went to one and it turned out pretty well for myself. And then you can actually, have that transition with your loved one, that okay, these are my issues, I went, and just talk about it very briefly, that if you want to, then this is how it can help, and leave it. If you press the matter too much, then it's going to create some aversion or some kind of defense in their head. But if you just talk about your story, if you describe your experience in detail, if you open up, then in 2 3 such conversations, there are very very high chances that they're going to be open to therapy, because what they're going to do is they're going to go back and do their research. And your goal is not to just make them do whatever you're asking to do, but at least look into the matter, consider it once, do your research, and then take a call. I'm okay with that. So I think I answered your question.
I would also like to ask a question. So as Arya mentioned that we conducted a survey, Someone responded, as an adult, I used to wonder how to speak about body dysmorphia during periods. Firstly, can you please explain the term body dysmorphia? What
So
all does it mean?
it is about having a very, very bad image of your body. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
So the world, the way we view you and the way you view yourself are two different things altogether. Am I correct?
Mhm.
And body shaming, I think, first of all, a bad body image and body shaming are not just restricted to periods, but I think it's a global issue these days. Okay, because right, if you see the start of the feminism movement was somewhere in 1940s back in the US, and you know a lot of topics regarding the cerebral equality when it comes to women, the academic equality when it comes to women had kicked in, and one of the major topics that had kicked in during that moment was what women can wear and how they feel about their bodies. Women are expected to have certain standards when it comes to body and men are not. So if you go to any beach on Goa, no, the black and the most unfit, physically unfit uncle will carry around his big belly with a lot of confidence on the beach, but a woman cannot go out on the beach in two piece unless and until she has had that perfect bikini figure. There is some term for it, I don't know. So these kind of ideas have been transitioning from one generation to another for many, many years in our society. So before anyone else is accepting our body, it is very important that we start accepting it first, the way it is. And the best way to do that is to have a meditation session every day, 10 minutes in the morning, and just try and talk to your body. As weird and crazy as it seems, if you just go inward and talk to that one body part, even after the session, you can try that. Go and talk to that one body part which you hate the most. My lips are not good enough. My hands are thick. My butt is this way. My boobs are not okay. My hair is this way. My forehead has these pimples. Go and talk to that area and actually ask them that, you know what, I have been thinking this way about you, but I am very grateful that you have not been giving it back to me by acting up. So, what do you feel? And your body is actually going to talk to you. Establishing that connection. Actually, I can elaborate more. If we are in therapy or we are in some other talk, we can always have this topic as discussion in one of our talks. But connecting with your body is the biggest and the best way to get rid of any kind of body shaming, whether it is internal or whether it is external. I hope I answered your question.
I have one final question for you. So we were talking about PMDD, and about that, it mentioned that how, like, it's often noticed that how late periods cause distress, and distress also causes late periods. So there's a mutual cycle that women tend to notice. So how do we go about the solutions? Like, what do we do? How do we end it?
Okay, so having a beautiful on time, on dot period, okay, is something that does not happen automatically. If you're very young, if you've just started with your periods, probably it will. But to have that, perfect period is an achievement which we work on for 3 weeks and enjoy for 1 week. Okay. So there is a 3 week backstory to it where you actually take care of your diet. There is a 3 week backstory to it where you actually, take care of your exercise routine. You take care of your mental health. You do not stress. If you are stressing, if you are having any panic or anxiety related issues, then you go and get it sorted with a doctor or with a psychiatrist or with a psychologist or, some mental health professional. You work on your health for 3 good weeks and no eating junk food, eating clean, all of that, only then your 3 days are going to be amazing. But if you're going to like party till 4 o'clock in the morning and expect a perfect period, that's not going to happen. So I think that is how it works. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, so that is going to conclude our Q&A session for today. But wow, this has been so insightful. I especially found the estrogen levels in men and women, that part of your talk, just so interesting.
Amazing, no?
Yeah, it's so incredible. But thank you so much for all your expertise, and you're willing to share your knowledge with us and talk with us today. Really, just your ability to break down such complex things and make them so accessible is such a testament, I think, to your skill as a psychologist and really educator. So, on behalf of everyone here, thank you so much for all of your valuable contributions to the field of psychology. And we are so grateful for your wisdom and guidance and kind of just devotion to helping others lead happier and healthier lives. And I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everyone who was just participating in our Q&A by contributing such thoughtful questions, as it helps to bring us just one step closer to kind of ending that whisper around menstrual cycles and mental health. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. It was great talking to you.
Thank you all for joining us today. Your participation and engagement have made this webinar truly insightful and impactful. We are grateful to all our esteemed guests, insightful speakers, and dedicated team members. Your contributions have made this webinar a tremendous success. Thank you all for your valuable participation and support. Let's continue to work together towards promoting mental and menstrual health awareness. Until next time, take care and stay empowered.